All right, we could pop to one of the email questions. Zach, what do you got?
How often should I trim my beard?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Short answer, personal preference. But if you're new to the game and you're just growing your beard for your first time, there's kind of like this huge, like initial growth phase that you kind of go through from like the start out itchy stubble to the, you know, 6 weeks in, you get weird ditches and flips in your beard and you can't keep it straight and all that good stuff. I would say at least let it go 6 months before you trim, but I would actually recommend further than that, like 3 or 4 months, just to see what style you can rock or what some guys might not grow a strong stash, so they might see that after they go 3, 4 months in and might choose to go a little bit whaler and then trim after that. Kind of just depends on what personal styles you're trying, and yeah, it's basically just personal preference and styling. I would say.
I usually trim mine every now and again. I haven't in a very long time. I'm kind of overdue. It's getting wispy down at the bottom. I usually go about every other week or two. I'll trim.
That's what a lot of guys will
Yep.
do. Once it starts to look thin or it starts to look out of uniformity, that's when they'll
Out of
start.
shape.
That's
Yeah.
when they'll start trimming. And that's a good time to start trimming it, unless you're seeing a lot of
Yep.
split end or something like that.
And we usually go about a month here ourselves, like Jay and I. But we have Johnny come in and he gives us trims every month. So that's the kind of the maintenance interval is what they talk about as far as once you find your style and you're living in that style, depending on your beard growth rate, it could be 6 weeks, it could be a month, it could be 2 months. Just depends on personal growth.
I always tell everybody, they ask and I say 3 months. I'm like, 3 months, figure out where the scragglers are, around there, trim away the scragglers, keep letting everything else grow until you end up with something full. Um, just so that you end up more with, hey, I want a trunk beard like you have. And it's like, okay, well, throw away your razor for 6 months, And then
Right.
if you do go to a barber, I know you guys go to somebody that knows your hair inside and out, but I've heard so many horror stories. And the big thing, I will never go back to a barber. I do my own. But if you do, the best advice I can tell you, go online, get a couple pictures of other people's beards that's similar to yours, and then take that to a reputable barber that knows what they're doing with facial hair, and say, I want to look like this. Because the last barber that touched my hair, he butchered it, and he took away 6 months of growth from the underside.
Oh.
Damn.
So I've seen some pictures when you first started growing your beard,
Mm-hmm.
and so from personal, like when you first started, like how long did you leave it go until like you dove in and you're just like, yeah, I want it to look like this. How long was that? Was it the 3 months or?
So I started growing my beard for a Halloween costume. Which,
That's perfect.
it was back in 2019, which you guys
Right.
all know. We met at Monsters Ball, and it was the Kratos costume.
Oh
So I started in January to grow my beard, and then it was that summer that I ended up talking to Brandon and Scott Haney that, hey, you should compete. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then next thing you know, they're like, that stash, you could probably win full beard styled stash and blah blah all this and that. And I'm like, I had no clue what they were. It was all foreign to me. Um, Unbeknownst to me, there was huge mistakes that I made in my stash journey, mistakes I was making in my beard journey, which I try to mitigate that with people that ask me, hey, what do you recommend? How, and heck, even at the Kingview Lumberjackses or whatever that place is in Cranberry, I was talking to the GM there and trying to help him with his facial hair even, and gave him some tips. But yeah, like I used to trim 2 fingers up above my Adam's apple, and the amount of depth in beard that you lose is astounding. So,
yeah, that underbeard.
yep, I tell everybody, if you want that full look, don't trim around the underside of the jaw line. Don't trim, directly across where essentially the underside of your jaw meets your neck. Um, Let it grow 3 months and find out where the scraggler hairs are, and only nip them away and keep letting everything grow. It's good. I understand it's going to be itchy. Just work through it, and once you get through it, with using decent beard products, I feel that you'll end up coming out with a solid looking beard.
Oh, definitely. John Anton said he started growing his beard for a Halloween costume too. So I've searched that before. You know, when Halloween comes around, you don't want to be a bearded character that's not bearded. You know,
Right.
so you kind of got to search like bearded costumes.
Yeah.
I think we wrote a blog about that.
We did.
Now
Yeah.
I'm stuck in it.
Well, Jay wrote the blog about that. Yeah.
Every costume I do now has to have a beard in it.